All right. Good evening, everyone. At least those of you who are still up. It is just after 11 o'clock here on the West Coast. On the East Coast, it is to 11 in the morning. So a lot of folks are asleep, or if you're like Corrine Henry last night over on my entertainment and media channel, maybe you're working overtime. Is this Corrine here? No, it's T Riddler. Good evening, T Riddler. Thank you for joining me. T Riddler, you on the East Coast or the West Coast? Because normally, if I was on the East Coast, I'd be knocked out in the bed right now. Dr. Johnson, what's going on? All right. Let me make this announcement over on my original channel. And then I'll play the intro and then I'll start. I would say let me make sure that I can see myself on YouTube, but the fact that you guys commented means that you can see me. Let me refresh this. Yep, there I am. Let me share this over on my original channel. So T Riddler, you're on the East Coast. You must not have to work tomorrow. All right. Let's see. All right. That's been shared over there. Guys, I'm getting the I'm not at home. I don't have my hard connection. So I'm getting the signal thing, the antenna thing in the corner there. So bear with me if I start to look a little digital. I'm looking at myself now. Yep, I look a little digital. I don't know how this sounds. Hopefully it'll go back up to 2 and 3 bars. Hold on a second. Okay, Dr. Johnson said it sounds good. Okay. On my end, I'm looking a little like Max Headroom. So, okay. Well, let me play the intro. I'll see you guys on the other side. Thank you for letting me know. All right. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dr. Anwar Youssef Dunbar, and this is Big Discussions 76, Science and Technology. I was about to say entertainment and media, but no, that was last night. This is science and technology. Dr. Johnson said, peaceful intro. Yeah, Dr. Johnson, it's time for me to update that one. That track was called Elf Meditation. There's actually a library of copyright free music on um, uh, Incompetech. I think that's what it's called. There's a website, and I found some nice ambient, serene music that would be good for a STEM channel. In any case, this is later than when I usually stream. And the reason is I am on the West Coast. So I flew to Dallas from DC last Wednesday night to interview someone who owns a technology firm. And part of that interview will be uploaded here. And then I decided to, I came out to Arizona to see my best friend. My best friend lives in Phoenix, but I decided to um, come back to Sedona. This is my second time in Sedona, Arizona. And I was thinking really, really hard about whether or not to go to Vegas because there were some really good prices to stay at the Luxor and to stay at Rio. But I made a group decision. It looked to me in the news that the virus is really, really floating around and it's mutating. And my best friend just had some health procedures done, and I decided, you know what, don't go around all those people because I would have been in the casino, I would have been in the cigar lounge, and I didn't want to bring him something because the virus likes people who are already compromised in terms of their health. So I said, all right, I'm going to go back to Sedona, Arizona, and the thing is, you guys see what the title of this stream is. A month or so ago, I was laying on my couch on a Friday, and I turned on Ancient Aliens. My brother was pretty hardcore with the Ancient Aliens a couple years ago. I don't know if he still watches it as regularly, but when he was that hardcore with it, I was like, why is he watching this show over and over and over again? And as I was watching on that Friday, a couple of episodes came on about Area 51, and I said, you know what, Area 51, and I just became intrigued and enamored with Area 51. So that's when I thought about going to Vegas. But then I saw that they had a quote unquote UFO tour here in Sedona. So that's where all of this came from. And also, as a content creator, thinking about growing this channel and thinking about expanding the audience, this is an area that I really haven't touched. So I thought it would be cool to do some of this and to start to talk about some of these things and maybe have some guests come over here and talk about whether or not we're alone in the universe. This is a STEM discussion and a STEM story. Um, okay, so let's do a yeah. I'm looking at my antenna thing here. You guys said I sound fine. I'm looking at myself on YouTube and I look a little digital, but I'm just gonna soldier through it. I don't want to be up too late, and I want to keep you guys up late. So let's just do a quick uh, geography run through. If you're just coming in, please hit that like button. If the algorithm brought you here, please subscribe. If you want to make a donation to the channel, that information is here. I don't have a super chat over here. and it'll probably be a little while before I do. Artisan has entered the building. What's going on, Artisan? Yeah, see all the West Coast guys. You guys are still up. And the only reason I'm up now is because I'm on the West Coast. If I was on the East Coast, I'd be in the bed under the covers. But yeah, guys, I'm in Arizona now. Flew into Phoenix here. That's the biggest city in Arizona. That's probably the city Arizona is known the most for. But the interesting thing about this, and I talked about this on my TikTok this morning. For those of you guys who are on TikTok, I'm on TikTok. So I'm not. My first couple of TikToks, I I did them immediately before streams to try to advertise. But today, I I went and walked the Bell Rock Trail. Sedona has all kinds of trails, so I went ahead and did some hiking today, and I had my phone, and I did a couple of TikTok uploads from the trail. So anyway, why did I start that? Anyway, so Phoenix is the biggest city in Arizona, and actually Phoenix sits in the valley. That's why when you watch, at least back in the day, when you would watch the Phoenix Suns games, they'd say we're broadcasting live from the Valley of the Sun. Phoenix actually sits in a valley. It's scorching. I think right now. Right now it's probably in the 90s or maybe in the 80s at nighttime, but in the daytime tomorrow, Phoenix is going to get. My computer is doing something. Phoenix is going to get into the hundreds. Now, if when you go north to Sedona up Route 17, you start to go uphill. You start to elevate, and the signs actually say Sedona is at 4,300 feet. I think that's probably above sea level. And you notice as you make that drive, you see a lot of cactuses on each side, but the further up you go, you start to see fewer cactuses. And as I was driving yesterday, I started to say to myself, you know what? I'm not seeing as many cactuses as I saw closer to Phoenix. That's because the elevation changed and the temperature changed. So the higher up you go towards Sedona and Flagstaff, you start to see more shrubs, you start to see more trees, you start to see more grass. So it's a state with multiple terrains. So right now I drove up 17 to Sedona. Yes, that's right about here. Yeah, right here. If you take 17, you take Route 179. That This hotel is actually in the village of Oak Creek, and then you drive up a little bit further, and you're in Sedona. Now tomorrow, the plan is to drive up to Flagstaff here. Yeah, Flagstaff here, and then to go further north to the Grand Canyon, which is up here somewhere, I think. Yeah, the Grand Canyon. That's another 2 hours. I've never been to the Grand Canyon. The years are passing by. I'm not getting any younger, so I'm going to go see the Grand Canyon tomorrow. Okay. So that's a little bit of a geography of this place. It's really beautiful. Alicia says she loves Sedona. Yeah, I in my TikToks today and in the pictures I posted on Instagram, it's just cool being out and away from the big city. Um, it's just cool. Yeah, it's just cool to be out where there's no other people. There's nothing but red trails and mountains and shrubs and cactuses. You gotta carry some water with you, or else you'll dehydrate. And I actually had to make that decision earlier, whether or not to walk around this big old mountain. But I decided, you know what? I've already been walking around this thing for like the last hour. I'm gonna uh, dehydrate, and I need something to eat. And plus, when you're hiking here in this area, the trails are not flat. They're going down, they're curving. You're going into these little mini valleys, and it's not a straight walk or a straight line. So it's quite the workout. Anyway, we're at 16 minutes. Let me go ahead and get through this. Okay, so I went on a UFO quote unquote tour tonight. Um, I didn't know what to expect. I saw from the advertisement and the summary and the ticket that I bought that we'd be looking up at the sky. So speaking of which, before I get into that, I just want to reiterate to you all that the STEM acronym is actually very broad. So you guys know that I have backgrounds in pharmacology and toxicology. So those are biological sciences, and those take place in a lab, right? And so my first real exposure to, or my first reminder or refresher of astronomy and astrophysics and aerospace, I got that because I volunteered at the David M. Brown Arlington Planetarium. So it was here that I became familiar with the James Webb Telescope, uh, black holes, the Hubble telescope, Kepler, exoplanets, singularities, all those different things. So that's a whole part of the STEM acronym that a lot of people are not familiar with, especially in our ADOS FBA tribe. And there are reasons that a lot of our people don't know about that. I would make the argument that imaging and messaging have a lot to do with that. Um, I don't want to get into the Black Panther thing, but I think that there are just reasons that we don't know a lot about that, aside from the folks in the chat right now. So I wanted to go on a UFO tour. I thought it would be cool content to create, and so the background of the stream, you guys can't see it. Let me upload it really quickly so I can show you what we did. There were only three of us. I was supposed to go on this thing last night, but this involved looking up at the sky. And last night there was a lot of cloud cover. So our hostess, messaged everyone and said, you know what, we can't do it tonight. We can try it tomorrow, or we could try it on Tuesday. So we met up tonight on Route 89A, and we found a comfortable location, which is right here. And this is a picture of the sunset where we sat. Isn't that beautiful? Very, very beautiful, very serene. So we sat there. She gave us an intro in terms of how she got interested in UFOs and aliens. By the way, YouTube, this is for educational purposes only. This is not to spark conspiracy theories, or this is not to spark a hysteria of any kind. This is just for educational purposes. But one of the things our hostess did talk about was what seems to be a recurring theme to me, and that's that there are a lot of things that our government is not telling us. So, and that's the only thing I'll say because I don't want this stream to get taken down midstream. So we pulled up in this this area, this watch area, uh, got some chairs out, and she started giving us her history on how and why she became interested in aliens. And just like with everything else in this country, there's a whole society and there are whole groups of people who are interested in this, who talk about this, who gather to share information about this. So there are whole societies and clubs just focusing on aliens and UFOs and whether or not we are alone in the universe, and whether or not these species and individuals are landing here, and whether or not they are walking around amongst us. I'll just say that she was of the opinion that they are, and that they have been, and that um, we are descendants of uh, these other individuals from other worlds. And if you watch Ancient Aliens, you hear that. You've heard that theory that we weren't created the way we were said to have been created in the Bible. Um, we actually are relatives of other life from other worlds. So she said a lot of things. I'm not going to get into all of that tonight because it was dark and I didn't have the ability to write things down. And I was thinking about recording what she was saying, but I just decided not to. So anyway, moving on. What we saw, what we did was we looked up at the sky, right? So our hostess shared infrared goggles with us. Okay, and we all had laser pointers, and she gave us a little tutorial on how to spot how to spot UFOs versus aircraft. So it turns out that commercial aircraft, um, they have the running lights which are blinking all the time. If you look up and you see an airplane flying overhead, you see the lights blinking at night. It's very distinct at nighttime. But you also see on one wing, you see a red light and you see a green light. So if you're looking up at the sky and you see something going across the night sky, and there are white lights blinking, and there's a red light and a green light on the wing, you know that that's a commercial airliner. Okay. Um, Now there are other objects up in the sky that don't have those white blinking lights and that don't have that red light and that green light on the wings. And according to what she shared with us, those are UFOs. Okay. So what we did was we used these infrared goggles, right? And again, you're looking at the night sky. So we looked up, and when you looked up with those infrared goggles, you could see um, illuminated objects in the sky that you couldn't see with your naked eye. And sure enough, if you look closely, you could see white objects, little illuminated white objects moving throughout the night sky. Uh, these were different. These were not the airplanes, but you could see numerous small white objects floating across the sky. Now, the other thing she told us, she said that satellites don't have running lights on them. So we were likely not looking at satellites. Um, there wasn't a the the ISS, the International Space Station, was not scheduled to go across the night sky tonight in Arizona. So we knew that we weren't looking at that. So she made the case that what we were looking at, those small illuminated objects that were floating across the sky, which we were looking at with infrared, She made the case that those were UFOs. Okay. And she made the case for some other things as well, which I won't get into here because I don't have all the particulars, and I didn't write a lot of this stuff down. But she made some other assertions as well in terms of when and how we've been visited by extraterrestrial life, um, and even some things, that and how how they have impacted historic events and how they're impacting events now. So I'm not going to get into all that because I don't want to misconstrue what she said, and I didn't write all the stuff down. But as she was talking, she was talking. You're listening to some of these things. You're saying, okay, is this real? It's one thing for us. It's one thing to look up and see objects moving in the sky, and that was the other thing I asked her. I said, these things we're seeing up there, are these things in outer space, or are these things in our atmosphere? Because you could say to yourself, okay, well, I see objects moving in the sky, small illuminated objects. It's one thing if they're in outer space, but if they're in our atmosphere, then that's something that's totally different. She said those are in fact in our atmosphere up there, and they're up there with the commercial airliners. And that was another thing I asked her because she said that she was a former flight attendant. And I said, okay, if these things are up there, are commercial airline pilots, do they sign some sort of non-disclosure agreement um, so as not to cause a general hysteria with the general public, or so as not to cause a hysteria with the general public? And she said, well, yeah, there was a point at which commercial airline pilots were supposed to write these things down every time they saw something, but at some point the companies said, don't say anything about that. So according to what she said, our hostess tonight, I'm going to keep her name anonymous. If you visit Sedona, I think she's got the only tour here. But I'm saying this to say that she said she saw something years ago when she was a flight attendant, and then she said that the pilots, they see these things pretty regularly when they're up there. So that's um that's what I wanted to share with you guys. I didn't want this. I didn't intend for this to be a especially since I didn't get to take notes. Towards the end, our hostess started talking about some other things in terms of what's coming in the future, and um, how extraterrestrials are impacting world events right now, and which world leaders are actually extraterrestrials. She started speculating and talking about a lot of things. Actually, I don't want to say speculating because some people, if they feel like they're telling the truth and you say they're speculating, they don't like that. I think I might have gotten in trouble with savings minus debt over on my original channel for saying things like that. So she was telling us about how extraterrestrials are impacting our current world events and our current geopolitics, and how they impacted previous history. But I'm saying this to say, guys, I just want to come on and say that, yeah, I did see things up in the sky moving. These were not commercial airliners. We looked at them with infrared. We were looking at them with infrared glasses. So when you're looking at things with infrared glasses, it's kind of like a green. It's like a green. It gives everything a green ambiance. I don't know if ambiance is the right word, but it gives everything a greenish hue, a greenish overlay. And when you look up at the sky, you could see stars. You could see illuminated objects, and I did see objects moving. Nothing landed near us, and no one came out. No Greys or Palladians came out and said, um, "Greetings from another world." None of that happened, but um, there are objects up there in the sky moving. And cities. I live in Washington D.C. I mean, there's so much light pollution in a big city. I mean, most of the folks in big cities probably don't give it a second thought. But when you're out in a secluded location like this, the sky looks different. And if you have the right equipment, you can look up there and you can see objects moving. Yeah. And they weren't, and I did ask her, are these meteorites? Are these comets? A meteorite would not, it would, she said it would, a rock would likely absorb light, it wouldn't give light off. And with a comet has a distinct image. You have like the object in the front, you have the mass in the front, and then you have the kind of like the ghost tail of the comet. So it wasn't a comet. These were not comets, but these were objects, distinct objects that were moving at varying speeds, um, apparently in our atmosphere. I'm going to read some of your comments here. Thank you guys for hanging out for this. T. Riddler says, good evening, Dr. T.S. Johnson says, what's up? T. Riddler says, East Coast. You guys said I sounded fine. If you're just coming in, please hit the like button. Dr. Johnson said, peaceful intro. Floyd says, my grandmother told me she used to see them growing up in Sandersville, Georgia, even landing in fields, scooping up dirt and crops. Okay. Now, the other thing when you talk about this, and when our hostess was talking to us earlier, you hearing stuff like this, it kind of shakes your foundation, because if you grow up the way that I grew up, what you know about the world, you get in large part from your religious training, your spiritual training. So you're taught that life comes from Adam and Eve, right? You're taught that, yeah, God created a single man, and then you're taught that God took a rib from that man and created woman, and then the rest of the human species um, evolved from those two individuals. So when you hear something like this, and I can think of one person who probably wouldn't approve of this, Miss Crystal Tootle. When you hear something like this, it shakes the foundation of what you were taught. And if you're really heavy into the church and really heavy into the Bible, this very much shakes the foundation of what you know and what you believe. So that's just that this is why a lot of people they're quick to discard this type of thing, and they're quick to shun this, because it can upset their core beliefs. So, and what they know to be, and what they've accepted to be true about the world and the universe. Once again, everyone, if you want to make a donation, um, my Cash App and PayPal are here. T. Riddler says, thank you. This is after I modded him up. Lloyd Holt says, too many people in the military told me they're real, and the current society ain't ready for the new reality. That gets back to what I just said. Floyd Holt says, I saw the San Diego UFO last month with half of the city. Oh, there was one in San Diego last month, Floyd? Joe, the average brother, says, I was stationed at Nellis Air Force Base in Las Vegas, and I ain't saying nothing. Okay, so it sounds like Joe saw something. Artisan said, good evening, Dr. Dunbar. Lloyd says, I used to see crazy things driving through Arizona, New Mexico, and the Midwest when I drove semi trucks. Yeah, that's what this part of the country is known for, in addition to partying and gambling and deserts. But when you think about the Southwest, you think about UFOs and extraterrestrial sightings. Peanut Butter Hero says, I woke up just to listen about the UFOs. Okay. T Brother says Phoenix may be hot, but it is beautiful. Yeah. Alicia says I love Sedona. Artisan says go. I think he's talking about the Grand Canyon. Super Triz gave a thumbs up. He says aliens have to exist just based on probability alone. Yeah, I think with the number of other stars and systems out there, I would agree with that. Absolutely. Super Triz says far too many galaxies. Yep. Even if we just focused on M-class planets, let alone other intelligent life, we have yet to conceptualize that don't need that they don't need carbon and water. Okay. Now, okay, you know what, Super Triz, that's interesting. One other thing that our hostess tonight said was that because she said that other we've been visited by beings from Venus. Early on in my life, depictions of Venus were that it was similar to Earth, but it was just a little close. It was just a little closer to the sun, so its atmosphere was not as habitable for life as ours is. Now, when I started volunteering at the David M. Brown Arlington Planetarium, I watched a full dome show showing or depicting that the atmosphere on Venus is just that. It's violent, it's rough, it's hot, and it's humans wouldn't be able to live there on the surface. So what our hostess suggested tonight was that beings on some of the other planets live below the surface. So the surface might be a little too warm, it might be a little too uninhabitable, but there are beings living beneath the surface of other planets. Yeah. Um, T Riddler says, I wonder if they were weather balloons. When I think of a weather balloon, T Riddler, I think of something with a blinking light. And these things, these objects, T Riddler, you have to keep in mind these were a weather balloon's only going to go up so far because the further you go off the Earth's surface, the air becomes less dense. So I don't think a balloon would go up that high. These objects were way up in the atmosphere. So Pasta says, yo yo. All right, what's going on, Pasta? Pasta 40. Well, I think it's just Pasta now. And then Super Triz says, I wonder if life intelligent enough for interstellar. I'm sorry. I wonder if life intelligent enough for interstellar travel would perform terrestrial maneuvers in our atmosphere without some sort of cloaking technology. She talked about that as well, cloaking technology. I'm going to show one more thing and then I'm going to wrap up because I want to try to. My goal is to drive to the Grand Canyon tomorrow because I've never seen the Grand Canyon. I'm going to pull up a picture of our solar system because I was just watching something interesting on this week. Okay. You know what? I'm going to pull this off and make a picture really quickly. Bear with me just briefly, guys. Now, T. Riddler's on the East Coast. I know Dr. Johnson's on the West Coast. Artisan is on the West Coast. Are the rest of you guys on the West Coast? Because I'm surprised you guys are up. If it's on the East Coast, it's almost 3 o'clock in the morning. If you're just coming in, please hit that like button. The likes are free. Let's see. Nuala 3095. That sounds like a very spacey name there. Says watched many strange things going up from the volcano from Mexico. Okay. Super Trish says, I doubt there is intelligent life on Venus, but Europa is fathomable beneath the ice crust. Beyond our solar system, could there be life forms utilizing silicone in place of carbon? T. Riddler says, was anyone laughing at or pushing back against the hostess's claim? You know, T. Riddler, some of the things she was saying, it was it was a lot. And I mean, there were only three of us there with her. I think the other two guests, there was a couple. They were busy looking up at the sky and stuff. I don't know how they were reacting to some of the things she was saying, but when you don't hear things before, when you're hearing about aliens are among us, they've been here. There are our ancestors, and they're impacting political events. When you start hearing all these things, you do kind of say to yourself, okay, is this real? Is she just pulling our leg, or what? But I didn't laugh. I think that would have been rude. So I just kept a straight face, and you know, I just kept a straight face, and tried to bear with her. Um Super Trez says Seattle. He said, okay, you're in Seattle. So yes, you're Juanito De Niro says, not of this world. Okay. We are here. You better believe it. Okay. All right. I don't know if you're trolling or what. Alicia says, I wonder why there is so much extraterrestrial activity in that area. I'm from California. Okay, so a lot of you guys are on the West Coast. And NT Worker says, good morning, everyone. Okay, the last factoid I'll share with you guys is this. This is our current solar system here. You guys know that Pluto, well, I'm a 70s baby. So at that point, Pluto was considered a planet, but Pluto got demoted by guys like Neil deGrasse Tyson. But this is the remaining lineup here. And if you look at Mars and Jupiter, there's an asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. So one theory in the astronomy community is that asteroid belt used to be a planet. and it got something happened to that planet. Okay. It got blown to bits somehow. Well, our hostess, what she shared with us tonight was that there were inhabitants on that planet. There was a planet in between Mars and Jupiter. To the YouTube algorithm, this is for educational purposes only. I'm just talking about a UFO tour that I went on tonight. So to the YouTube algorithm, those running YouTube, that's what this is. Okay. So our my hostess stated that, and she reiterated that there was a planet there in between Mars and Jupiter. I didn't write the name down. It was dark. But she stated that the inhabitants of that planet themselves, they were playing around with nuclear technology, and they lost control of it and their entire planet. And she also said that extraterrestrials have been monitoring our usage, our pending usage of nuclear technology. And if something happens on one planet, it'll affect the others. And that's what happened with that planet that was in between Mars and Jupiter. Whatever happened there, it she said it flipped. I think she said it flipped the Earth into the orbit that it's in right now. I believe that's what she said. So that was it, guys. That was my little UFO tour. I wanted to I'd like to do some more content on this. I'd like to talk to some more people in this field and in this area. And I may do that in order to expand the scope of the channel. But yeah, it was either I was either going to go to Vegas and do the Area 51 tour. Oh, Alicia, Alicia's on it. Yes, I think this was the name of the planet, Tiamat. Tiamat. Okay, look at you guys and gals. So I was either going to do the Area 51 tour in Vegas, or I was going to do a tour here. And I knew I wanted to do a show immediately after whichever one that I did. Super Triz says, I always thought the planetoid collision created our moon is what caused our orbit path. Hmm. Okay. So, anyhow, everyone, it is now midnight here on the West Coast. So, I'm gonna wrap this up. I like being on the West Coast. This is a it's different than the East Coast, and I like being out in these secluded areas. This is yeah, it's good to get away from Washington D.C. and be in a place like this. Joe says, could that planet be called the planet? That planet struck Earth and created our moon. Okay, see, I don't know anything about that. I don't know. Okay. Well, everyone, I'm going to wrap this stream up. Thank you to all of you who came through and hung out in the chat and humored me on this. It sounds like many of you all are savvy and knowledgeable in this area yourselves. So yeah, I'm gonna look to do some more of this content. T Riddler says, yeah, the West Coast suits you well. Okay, thanks, T Riddler. And Artisan says, swing by the Hoover Dam. Okay. All right. I'll see if I can squeeze that one in, Artisan. All right, everyone. I know those of you in the chat, you guys have seen this, but for the new people who watch the stream, please consider joining the Big Words LLC newsletter. In addition to being a YouTube content creator, I'm also a writer, multiple channel, a couple of blogging platforms, book project on the way. There's a 2-paragraph greeting and a subscription button at the bottom. And this newsletter will go out every month. Okay. Looks like we have a back and forth in the chat between Alicia and T Riddler about Tiamat. Okay. Well, maybe I'll have you two up the next time to talk about Tiamat. Artisan says, if you are in Vegas, it's on the way to the Grand Canyons. No, I'm coming up from the Arizona side. So I'll probably, yeah, I'm going to go to the south rim of the Grand Canyon. Yeah, the south rim, and just poke around for a little bit. And then poke around in Flagstaff a little bit before coming back here. And then I'm going to go down to Phoenix on Wednesday morning. Artisan says, Eagle Point Skybridge is nice. Okay. I'm listening says, what's up, family? I'm listening. You're going to have to listen to the playback because I'm about to wrap this up. Artisan gave me a thumbs up. All right, everyone. Thank you for, again, thank you again for coming and hanging out and watching this. Enjoy the rest of your night, regardless of which coast you're on. So a little prelude. Should I say this now? No, I'll tell you guys later. Just watch my community tabs. All right, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your night. And as always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Take care, and I'll talk to you the next time. Bye-bye.